Now let's have a look how to do the week planning in DayCaptain, which is another feature that just helps us implementing our process to look through everything that's due for next week. So similar to just looking at every day, it really helps if we get at least a rough overview of what's due next week and what we would like to, spend the week on. And there is this week view that we can navigate to by pressing W and G and W, and that should give us an overview over the whole week for all the tasks and all of the events in a timeline. So with that view also allows us to do a week planning. So let's go for that with G and N, similar to the day view. And now for that week planning, it asks us the question, what is the most important task next week again? So just from the top of our head without thinking too much. So we could, for example, work on some specific project that we would like to assign to some project. Let's add this, and then there's another work project that we would like to work on. We want to fix some specific bug. We want to improve our Japanese, or for example, includes a more specific thing. Let's say Japanese, there is a book chapter that we would like to finish, and so on and so forth. And by just adding these things, similar to the day planning, we dedicate our week to do something. And ideally, these are the important tasks, so the one that would really move us forward. And similar to the day planning, we can then just resort them accordingly by following the priorities. But assuming we have accounted for the most important tasks, if we move forward by pressing the dot for selecting these control and pressing enter, we go to step 2, which is again doing a review. So now a review of our whole week. And it asks us, look at our previous week, what did we achieve? What went well, what could have been better? And decide on the tasks that are still open. So assuming this is my current week that I now want to review, and let's see, we had some plan for some specific tasks. So apparently we didn't assign some time here, and we saw that there is actually some statistics as well. So how much did we plan in the whole week for a specific project or for some specific areas? And this is quite helpful already. And now similarly, we would like to, finish all of the tasks. So which means that we cross out all of the tasks or we cancel them, similar to the day planning. So just that at the end of the week, everything is accounted for. There is no open task left. And the same is true for the day tasks that are part of the specific days of the week. So that means that usually I'm finished with all of the tasks in that week, so that afterwards, all of it is done. And similarly, all of the timeline events represent what we actually spend our time on. But usually that is done before, because we do the day planning and then we plan for the next week. So if we reviewed the whole week, especially with the tasks, we can go and cross them out, or of course also copy them to the next week. So for example, if the bug would not still be fixed, then we can copy it to the next week and press the dot and hit next to go through the next step. And now this means go through all your inboxes and all of the things that are still open. So connect all the loose ends. Which means if we had something in our inbox, if we do have something in our email inbox and other messages or paper notes or something that we would need to account for, this is the step to do that, so that everything will be accounted for and we cannot forget something. We can go through all of these lists and just put them, sort them in accordingly. So if we have something that, do not forget about this, that is in our inbox, we could, for example, move it to do it later on, or to assign it to a specific day or week. So that step makes sure that we don't forget about anything. If we go to the next step with dot and enter, we now see that in step 4 we set up our task list, which means that we fill our task list with everything that is just important next week. We already did the important task, but maybe if we go through our backlogs, which is the selection of everything that we would need to do at some point. We go through it and say if there is something done for next week. So that means if, for example, we would like to contact that person, if we press enter, then it's already being added to the task list for next week. By doing so, we go through all of the backlogs here. For example, there's something else. I can also change the name by pressing Shift-NT. For example, something to be done next week. Change the name here, and then it will be added, all of it, to my task list for the week. So the idea is that I go through all of the things there and add them to the task list if I would like to work on that next week. And once I've done that, I can go and bring all the week tasks into the right order. I focus my week task list and say, well, this is so and so important. I want to work on this in that order, so based on the priority. And I can also assign time budgets. For example, I would like to work 9 hours or 10 hours on that project. Fixing that bug should not take more than 2 hours, and so on and so forth. I can go and assign some time budgets, and that is of course for the whole week. So how much time that week would I like to spend on something? I don't have to assign them, but they just help me later on to see how my planning was and how much did I actually spend the time on. Then I can go to the next step and see if there is something in my calendar that I need to take into consideration already. For example, on that Wednesday, I might already have a meeting in my calendar that I need to account for, or I might give a presentation in the evening on Thursday, which I then need to account for and actually plan for some task. So that just helps me to not forget something. I go through that calendar. I can go through external calendars if I have them. If I connected the Google calendars into DayCaptain, they will already show up, and then I can account for the things that are upcoming. I can go to the next step, step 6, and now I allocate days for my tasks already. I don't have to do this, but it helps me. For example, if I know that the presentation is upcoming, I can go on that Thursday and, for example, well, prepare the presentation here already. This might be connected to, let's say, some IT project, and then this already will be accounted for. Or if I say, well, I would definitely like to work on the project on Monday and on Tuesday, I can do so by just assigning these day tasks from my week task. So I can go and just assign some days already. This might help me. It just tries to, well, put something in order already. Of course, once I do the individual day planning, so after every day I ask myself, what do I want to work on tomorrow? I see these week tasks as well, so I can also do it there. But usually it helps to just have some overview to say, well, when do I actually want to do all of these tasks? And that also gives you the idea, does it even make sense? So is it maybe too much planning? And here we see already the time planning for the statistics. If in total these are too many hours, then I should maybe change my planning. So for that, I'm still in this planning view that I see, does it really make sense, everything that I put into these lists, all of my plans, or is it too much and should I adjust it? So what I could do, for example, I could already insert some times as well, because if I every day would like to work 2 hours on that in the morning, assuming so, I can do that already. And again, by using the keyboard shortcuts, they just help me a lot because it's really fast to do so. And then I see how the statistics change. So for that, that's quite quickly to do. And then I can, for example, assign some days already for these tasks. If I go to the next step by pressing dot and enter, then it gives me a chance to review everything that I have here. Does that really make sense for the week? Is it feasible? Maybe I planned too much time. Is this the right importance? Should I resort my tasks, and so on and so forth? Did I not forget anything? So that just helps me a lot by just asking these questions. And again, you don't have to do a very perfect planning at first. You can leave many breaks, you can leave out something, you can just quite quickly do it. You don't have to assign some areas or some planned times, but just asking yourself that question, hey, what do I actually want to spend next week on, helps you a lot. And that is now the last step in the planning. If I press dot and enter again, I'm done, and I go back to my week view and see that now everything is accounted for, that actually my weekly task list is empty because it only shows me the thing that is still open per default in this view. If I press C for statistics and show all done things, I see them as well. But then I see that everything now is accounted for in that week. And in the next week, I have my plan already.